Hello everyone, welcome back to Shenzhen, or rather Shenzhen IO, or both I guess. So we're back here, this is where I left off at the end of the previous video. I had just finished this design for our second project. So let's go ahead and head back to our email program and see what happened. So, yeah, so objective complete. We finished the design. And Jay's, somebody commented on the previous video that this name is pronounced Jay, so okay. So Jay says, looks good, and Carl says, take care, yeah? I guess be careful because the other one suffered some kind of damage. It was broken, smashed. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. So, oh, this email says, please enjoy a game. This might be the most difficult assignment yet. So Jay's daughter is learning programming. She created a simple card game. Would like to try to put a link on everyone's desktop. Yeah, because in corporate environments, they can control what icons you have on your computer desktop. So yeah, she's interested to become a game developer. Wow, there's a lot more possible, harder than I was expecting. Your daughter mentioned maybe there could be an undo function. Ah, yes, I remember. This is kind of funny. So Carl says maybe there could be an undo function. He finds the game rather difficult. Jay replies, she says she doesn't think it needs an undo because it is actually quite easy once you develop some skill. She really takes after you. Okay, objective, win a game of solitaire. Well, let's see if we can manage that. So indeed, if we come back here to this screen, which we saw at the beginning, we now have a solitaire game down here. So let's check it out. This is actually quite a nice solitaire game. It got really popular. In fact, a lot of people who played this game kind of picked this as the standout. Like even people who didn't care much for the whole circuit designing thing, they said, yeah, this is really cool. This is good solitaire. So let me click on the instructions. We can just basically flip through these fairly quickly. The idea is simple. Well, yeah, you can read this if you want, but basically it looks kind of like Windows Solitaire, like Klondike Solitaire, which is familiar to many. It's kind of a mix of Klondike Solitaire and Free Cell, for those of you who know Free Cell. So in Free Cell is kind of like Klondike Solitaire, except in Free Cell you have these free cells up here, and you can like stick cards in them, and then kind of use these as holding areas. One big difference between Klondike Solitaire and Free Cell is in Free Cell you can only move as many cards as you have room for up here. In Klondike Solitaire you can take like a giant stack of cards and just drag them all at once. It won't let me do it here because these cards are not in order, but this will let you do that. In this game you can move around as many cards as you want. The stack can be as big as you want, but you have also these three holding cells here, so it's kind of a mix of the two. But it also brings in some other elements like these dragons. So those of you who have played Shanghai probably remember the red dragon, the green dragon, and this is I guess the black, is that the black dragon or the white dragon? It's one of those two of like traditional sort of mahjong tiles. So at the end what needs to happen is all these numbered cards need to end up here in the upper right. There are three types of, three suits. So they need to end up here, and the dragons need to end up here. And I just have it. The rose card needs to go up here. This deal, just by pure chance, happened to give me the rose card at the bottom on the first deal, and so it automatically put it up there. But at the end, the rose needs to be here, the three dragons need to be here, the three numbered piles need to be here. So let's see if we can do this. So just like in Solitaire, you need to put unlike colors together, but here we have three colors. You can mix and match any of the three colors. You just can't put this red 8 on the red 9, but I can put this red 8 on the green 9. That works. This is a bit annoying. I have the red 6, 7, 8, and 9 here, so I can't drag any of these onto each other. It's kind of rare. That rarely happens, but it did happen here. Let's see. So I'm not very good at this game. I'm not good at games in general, but let's see. How will I fare? Let's find out. I mean, I guess I can put this up here and then drag the 4 over, but does it make sense to do that? It's always my impulse in these games to say, I can do this and that and the other thing, but then the question is, well, okay, yeah, you can, but does it make sense to do that? I'm quite annoyed by all these red cards being here at the beginning. That's kind of a bad deal in my opinion. Let's see, so if I move this here, okay, I can put this 8 down here, get the 7 out of the way. I don't have a place for this 3 right now. I can put this up here and then move the 3 over, but it doesn't make sense to do that, does it? let's do this. Right, then put that there. Let's do this 3 up here. We don't really need it. So, okay, so what I could do, you can't put the dragons up here until you have all 4 of them exposed. Well, you can put them up here as a temporary holding cell. I could put this one up here. But when all 4 dragons are exposed, you can stick them in a holding cell here permanently. But you need to have a free cell for that, and I do not. I've already filled up all 3 of them. So I was thinking if I feel like I got kind of a bad deal here, but maybe that's just me complaining. I don't know. It might not be that bad of a deal. So I mean, I can move that down there, but that doesn't really. Okay, hold on. I can move. Okay, so I can make a little space there. But I mean, what I really need to do, I guess. Okay, if I do this. Well, okay, there we go. See how this green button lit up now? So if I click on this, whoop, the green dragons are gone. So they are permanently now stuck there. So I lost one of my free holding cells here, but I got the green dragons out of the way. So it's, kind of a trade-off. All right, so we can make a little room here like this and like that, and do I want to do that? Not sure that I do. Let's do this, and these 2 dragons here are stacked on top of each other like that. That's also kind of annoying. Let's see. I mean, I guess if I. Let's see, I mean, like, no, like that, there we go. So, I mean, I can do that, right, and then, like, yeah, and then put that over there, and then this over here, like that, yeah, that works, and then, okay, I can drag this down here, right, okay, and then, okay, there we go, that exposes the 4 red dragons, so here go the red dragons, whoop. Okay, and okay, that's not bad. Now I've got a little extra space here. Let me move these over so I can put this black 8 on the red 9 because I couldn't put the black 8 on the black 9 there. Excuse me. And now I can put the. There we go. Hey, look at that. We won. Whee! Okay, so yeah, that's the game. And I mean, like I said, this game was so popular that this was released as a standalone version. It was supposed to be kind of a little sort of, side distraction thing in Shenzhen IO, but it became so popular that some people said they preferred that more than the game, so Zachtronics did end up releasing a standalone version of Shenzhen IO Solitaire, just for people to play that, because, some people didn't like the whole circuit design thing, but I agree it's a pretty cool game, but I like the rest of it as well. Oh, and this is something that, I actually like this kind of thing. I have no idea what this says. I assume this is real Chinese, and people who read Chinese or want to take the time to decipher this can probably figure out what it says. But this is also something that happens when you work in an international company. People who are locals will end up writing to each other. Like, we have... Jay is sending out English language messages because he knows that not all employees speak Chinese, and obviously he wants to be able to reach everyone, which is why he's sort of, being the leader and taking the lead and communicating in English. But, these 2 people are they're just talking to each other, and so they're just kind of, I mean, I guess they hit reply all because we got the emails as well, but really it's a conversation between them. And this is something that I've sometimes seen as well when I was working in foreign countries. It's like, yeah, locals will often just write to each other in their local language, even if it's supposed to be an international company. And it's kind of, it adds to the feeling of being a little bit out of place. Like, it's like, it adds to the atmosphere of this whole game of being, it's like we're kind of a fish out of water. It's like it feels foreign, and yet somehow it feels familiar to me because I guess I've been in that situation. Anyway, okay, so we have all the parts. Yes, put in all the parts. So Carl says, now that you're up and running, I figure it's safe to use all the lovely parts we have available to us. Just be warned that not all of them are going to be useful for what you're doing immediately. On you go then. So you might have seen actually at the end, if I come back here to this design that we did here and quickly go back into the concept CAD program. See, before we just had, I think we just had like this chip here on the right-hand side, and that was it. Now we've got all these parts to choose from. So we can basically, I think this is pretty much all the parts in the entire game. So you can see there are not even that many parts. Like I think I said in the previous video, there's not that much hardware design that goes into this game. Usually for each circuit, you spend just a couple of minutes designing the circuit, and then the majority of it is in figuring out the assembly language logic, which irks me just a little bit because I would have preferred, again, a little bit more of the physical, but you know, if you want physical stuff, then play Constructor, which I incorrectly pronounced as Kortbuktop when I first made a video of it, because back then I couldn't read Cyrillic. Anyway, let's get back to the game. Let's get back to the main, you know, like the meat of the game, the main part of the game, and design a pulse generator. So in order to test some of our new manufacturing, we need a pulse generator with certain requirements, specifications, or instead of buying with a market price, we'd simply create our own. Sure, why not? You make use of conditional execution. Okay, so we'll need to learn more assembly language commands for that, or opcodes or whatever. But let's go ahead and get started. So what do we have here? We have, again, just this one board. So what's the deal? A button is a simple input connected to a button. So here's an input. Pulse is an output. So once again, very simple. Input, output. When the button is pushed, generate pulse is indicated in the verification tab until the button is released. So what do we want? Okay, so when somebody pushes the button goes high. And it stays high until somebody releases the button. So the point is just, when button is high, pulse should pulse. It should pulse up and down with every cycle. It goes up one cycle, goes down the next cycle, goes up one cycle, goes down the next cycle. So I am going to be very cheap, not financially cheap, but I'm going to be very cheap in the gaming sense, and just jump right to the MC6000 because it gives you way more lines of code. It gives you, how many lines of code does this give you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 lines of code as opposed to the 9 lines that the MC4000 gives you. And those 5 extra lines of code mean a lot. When you're writing programs in this kind of environment, yeah, those extra 5 lines actually mean quite a lot, because it really is. In some ways, this game is actually harder than real assembly language programming, because even on a very simple microcomputer, like even on the very smallest of microcomputers, you can fit more than 9 lines or 14 lines of code. You might not be able to fit millions of lines, but you can fit usually at least a few hundred, if not a few thousand, even on a computer with like a few kilobytes of memory. So in some ways, this game is actually more difficult than real-life assembly programming. Anyway, so I've already done the wiring. Again, that was it. Some of the wiring will get a little more complicated later on, but again, basically we have an input and output. That's it. The chip is here, P0 is connected to the input, P1 is connected to the output, and the rest of this puzzle is just the programming. So, what do we need to do? We need to basically say if. So we basically need an if-then statement. If button is high, then start the pulsing. But in assembly language, there is no if-then statement. Instead, we will need to use, as Jay said, we need to use conditional programming, and I forget how to do the syntax for that in this game. So, I mean, it's probably something like, is it CMP? And in real-life assembly language programming, at least for the PC, it's typically CMP. So you say, which is short for compare. Oh, it says invalid instruction. Okay, it's obviously not CMP since the game appears to not know what CMP is. In PCs, it's typically CMP, which means compare. So like you'd say compare P0 with 100, which means compare it, see if it's on, and then if yes, if it is 100, then start doing the pulsing. If not, then just do nothing. But what's the syntax here? I need to open the game documentation because I do not remember. Where's the... There we go. Here's the documentation. The game actually comes with a really nice documentation. It's actually super cool. They really went all out to add a little bit of extra atmosphere to the game in the documentation. The documentation is only a few dozen pages. I think it's something like 50 pages. But how many pages does it? Oh, the pages are not all numbered, so I don't, like at the end I don't see how many pages it is total, but I think it's about 50 pages total. What am I looking for? I'm looking for conditional execution. There we go, conditional execution. Okay, so, oh, it's interesting. So apparently, okay, right, so in this game, instructions are preceded by either a plus sign or a minus sign. I see, you can do that, and it automatically, okay, it automatically jumps ahead. So minus, I guess, means that the test is not true. So in this case, this would mean compare P0 with 100, and if it's not 100, then do nothing. And if you say plus, if it is 100, then do something, do the pulsing. But I need to, what are the actual test instructions? I need to know what, oh, TEQ, for example. Okay, I get it, okay. Right, test if equal, okay. So, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but like I said, in a real PC, you typically say CMP for compare, and then you have instructions for JE, meaning jump if equal, jump if P0 is 100. Then you have JNE, jump if not equal, if it's not 100. You can say jump if greater than, if it's greater than 100. You can say JL, jump if less than 100. All those instructions are usually available on a PC, but here, instead, we have the instruction TEQ, meaning test if P0 is 100, and then we can just say plus if it is, minus if it's not. So, okay, let's do the minus first, because that one should be easier, because minus just would do nothing, right? So, minus sleep 1, because sleep 1 is how you advance one cycle in this game. So you basically say if P0 is not 100, then just sleep for one cycle, and then go back to the beginning and check it again. But then plus, if it is 1, or if it is 100, if it is high, then move 100 to P1, because P1 should go high as well. Okay, we're gonna have a problem though, because, well, hold on. Let me simulate this. Does this do anything? Yeah, okay. So it kind of works. It kind of does something. It correctly sleeps, it correctly does nothing until this goes high, but then the problem is, hold on, can I just do sleep 1 now, or does it have to, yeah, there we go, I see. Whoa, wait, what happened here? Oh, it goes high too late. Why does it go high late? Because what I'm seeing here is that that's weird. See, what happens here is that the input goes high here, and then the output should go high with it, but the output actually goes high one cycle late. Why is it doing that? That's problematic. Okay, that's befuddling. I do not know. Crud. See, this is where I'm already running into trouble, because again, you know, this is a game, and the game has its own rules. I mean, it mimics the syntax of real-world assembly language, but it doesn't necessarily work in the same way that real assembly language does, or that real, you know, microcontrollers do. And so, I mean, in real life, of course, there's always going to be some delay between when you issue an instruction and when the actual physical pin goes high. But in the game, I don't think there's supposed to be a delay like that. Or is there? Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can find anything in the documentation about that. Because that's like such a... Okay, let's do step then. So you can do step to take it one step at a time. So let's see. So we're getting close to the point of decision where it actually should go high. So let's see. So test P0 100. Okay, it is not 100, so we sleep one more. Oh, that's what happened. That's what happened. When I do the sleep one here, it's supposed to go back to the beginning, but it doesn't. It goes on. It sleeps for one cycle and then keeps going through the program. And then here it sleeps again. And so by the time it's gone back to the beginning, it's slept for another cycle. Okay, I see. Okay, so what I need to do here is make a label at the top, something like loop start, colon, and then say here jump loop start. There we go. Now at least the first part should work. Part not sleeping. Okay, what is wrong here? Right, so we're now at a situation where, oh, I see. I guess I should put a minus sign at the beginning of that as well, because that's part of the minus condition, right? Yes, it is. Okay. All right, good. Well, that's at least a good start. Now at least it goes high at the right time. Okay, so good. So we've got the timing there taken care of. Now what we need to do is figure out... Ooh... So the problem that I have here now is this is actually the wrong instruction, move 100 P1. It's correct to set it to 100 the first time, but after that you need to set it to 0. So you can't just say set it to 100 because, yeah, sometimes it needs to be 100, but sometimes it needs to be 0. So, okay, let's do this. You know what, I can probably just take this off. I can take off this plus sign. I don't need that, do I? Because, yeah. Because if P0 is not 100, then it'll follow these two minus sign things and loop back to the start. But if P0 is not 100, it just ignores these two minus conditions and keeps going down here. So actually, I don't need the plus here. I don't need to do an else condition because it automatically just skips over these two. Okay, that's fine. So what I need to do actually is say, check if P1 is 0, and if it is 0, then set it to be 100, because if it is 0, it should be 100, and vice versa. If it's not 0, then it needs to be 0. It's kind of... Logic's kind of funny, but I mean, it makes sense, right? So basically what we're saying is check if the output is 0. If it is 0, it needs to be not 0. If it's not 0, it needs to be 0, because every time, with every cycle, it alternates. So we should be... And actually, do I need to say sleep 1, or does it automatically loop back to the start when it... Let's see. Is it smart enough to... No, it's not. I have to actually explicitly say sleep 1 here at the bottom, I guess. So... Okay, wait, why is it... Wait, why is it not working? Let's see. So what do we have here? Test P0 100. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Test if P1 is 0. And then, wait, what? What? Hold on. It looks like it... I am befuddled here. What happened? So right now it says test if P1 equals 0. So test if this here equals 0, which it clearly does not. It's 100, it's not 0. Oh, there we go. No, it's... Why is it... What? Why does it act like it's... Why does it act like it's 0 when it is clearly not 0? Is that a quirk of the TEQ instruction? Let me see. Let me just quickly check something here. I have a feeling that somehow the TEQ command, somehow this test command is turning off that output, which is problematic because that means that I wonder, okay. I have a feeling that somehow the TEQ command, that must be another weird quirk of the game. Somehow it must be that the TEQ command actually disables the output and then measures it always 0, because clearly it was not 0. I mean, we could clearly see this output was on like this when it was tested with the TEQ command, and yet the TEQ command reacted as if the output had been 0. So I'm going to guess that's a quirk of the game. So I'm thinking now what I need to do is use the accumulator. Hopefully the accumulator works instead of using the pin. So what I'm going to say is test if accumulator equals 0, and if so, move 100 into the accumulator, and otherwise move 0 into the accumulator, and then just move the accumulator to P1. Yeah, that looks good. So in any case, the accumulator will be correct after these, after this sequence of operations. Either the accumulator needs to be, if the accumulator is 0, it needs to be 100. If it is not 0, it needs to be 0. And then after this, the accumulator is correct for the output, and then move the accumulator to the output. Let's see if this works. Yes, it does. It works. Oh, hey, look at that. It works. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why does it suddenly stop here? It was working so well. It was working so well here and here and here. What's going on? I have a feeling that, I think I see what happened. Notice that here the button goes low when the output is low, and here it goes low when the output is low. But let's see, if I advance a few times, yeah, what's happening is here now the button goes low when the input is high. That must be what's messing it up. Let's find out why. So test of accumulator is 0. It is 0, so move 100 into the accumulator. That's the right thing to do. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, here's where it fails. Test if P0 is 100. Oh, I have no condition to, right, the pulse needs to go low. If the button is off, I can't leave the output high. I need to switch the output low if the button is off, and I'm not doing that. That's what's causing it to fail. Let me just see, does it at least work correctly a bit? Yeah, okay, at least it's backwards because it's backwards, but basically when the button goes high, it starts oscillating again. So that is actually, it's basically correct. I just need to, okay, let's do this then. Let's do this, and let's add an extra instruction here and say if P0 is not 100, then move 0 to P1. So this way P1 will always be 0 if P1 will always be off if P0 is off. That's the point. The output will always be off if the input is off. That's what we want here. So does that fix it? Looking better? Oh, why does it, okay, why does it fail there suddenly? That's bizarre. I have a timing problem again, probably caused by... Okay, things are getting harder. I'm not necessarily very... Oops, I already skipped 2. I'm not necessarily very good at anticipating in advance what's going to happen. I'm not bad at programming in real life, I think, but I tend to be the kind of programmer who just tries everything. I just try something and see what happens, and just sort of let failures happen and then react to failures. And I know that that's not a necessarily good way to do it. You really should be anticipating failures rather than just letting them happen and reacting when they happen. But okay, let's see here. So test P0 100. It is 100. Test if accumulator is 0. Oh, that's what's screwing it up, because I left 100 in the accumulator. So actually what I need to do is not only move 0 to P1, I also need to say move 0 to the accumulator. So this is like a full reset, total reset. When P0 is low, put a 0 on the output, put a 0 in the accumulator. That kind of resets the condition. Okay, now it'll probably work. Yeah, that looks better. And now it's going to go through a few different iterations, but all right. Well, there we go. Okay. So that's interesting. Most people, it looks like, judging by how big this bar is, it looks like most people solved this with the MC4000 instead of going to the MC6000. So I'm definitely not in the upper ranks here with my solution. I'm definitely, let me see, how many lines do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 lines of code here. So there's definitely a more efficient way of doing this. Because if most people did this with the MC4000, there's definitely a more efficient way of doing this than with these 11 lines of code. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on it too long. I mean, this works. It's a working solution. If anybody wants to propose a more efficient way, there obviously is a more efficient way to do it, then feel free to suggest how you do it and why. But I'm not going to waste too much time trying to optimize things. In real life, it's fun to optimize things, but in the game, it's not necessarily fun just to watch somebody try to optimize stuff. So I will go back and there we go. Jay says, yes, looks okay, suitable for our purpose. He's very understated, very no nonsense. Take an orbital selfie. Trip start at just 90,000 R. I guess that's, wait, what's R? China uses the yuan for currency, but it's also known under that weird name, renminbi or whatever, so that's probably what it means. Dear adventure, blah blah blah. Okay, this is just spam from some company in Moscow. Oh yeah, in Moscow there is a company that actually lets you take an actual MiG-29 into close to near Earth orbit. It takes you to something like 80,000 feet, which is getting close to the boundaries of space, and I think it costs like $15,000. So maybe this is a reference to that. Yeah, it's a real thing. If you go to Moscow, there is a tourist thing there that lets you book a flight on a real MiG-29. You have to book it like way in advance, but it's a real thing. Okay, we'll probably not finish the next puzzle. Let's go ahead and at least get it started so we have an idea of what we have coming up. So, Joe, our marketing enthusiast, says, it begins. I got us an incredible deal with a major esports personality, the Solid Steel Gamer. Her team's contracted with us to make light-up signs that actually animate for her fans. As long as we can keep the cost down, they're going to want tons of these to hand out at matches. Jay says it looks simple, just a few states. Okay, let's see what we have going on here. Chip stips, drag with the middle mouse button or left mouse while holding Alt key to look at different words. Okay. Either hold down Alt and use the left mouse button or drag with the middle mouse button, which is probably the scroll wheel on most mice today. Okay, that answers my question of how you can scroll. I must have known that at one point in time and forgotten about it. So if you want to scroll, you use, or not scroll, but okay, so the actual rolling the scroll wheel actually roll through the parts bin. So press the scroll wheel to move your design around, or hold Alt and then use the left mouse button. Okay, that works. Okay, all right. So what do we have here? Click 0 and click 1. So these two are outputs. Connected display segment is connected to clicking animation. Drink 0, 1, and 2 are simple outputs connected to display drinking animation. Okay, so all of these are outputs. Displays with fixed reading signals indicated in the verification tab. So wait, we don't have any. We have no output. We have no inputs. All 5 of these are outputs. That's interesting. All right. Oh yeah, I remember this. It's one of these neon sign things. So basically, well, if I try to simulate it now, you won't. Yeah, you won't see anything. But basically, yeah, it's a neon sign, and there are like 3. There are actually 3 women represented here, and if you turn on one woman at a time, or turn on one neon tube at a time, and you sort of alternate back and forth between them fast, it creates an animation. It's basically like a 3-frame animation, which is kind of it looks kind of cheap and simple, and it is, but I mean it's okay. It looks kind of cool. So okay, so click 0 and click 1 are just simple oscillating outputs. So that's actually super simple, or should be. Excuse me, sorry. So that looks so simple that I might actually be able to use an MC4000 with it. So let's go ahead and take an MC4000 out. Oh, sorry, click is on the left side here. So again, these are simple outputs. Yeah, they're all simple outputs, not these XBuzz outputs. So I'll go ahead and say P1 goes here and P1 goes here. All right, that's it. That takes care of the wiring. Now, what do we want to do? Let's say that... Okay. Just thinking, again, we'll probably want to use the accumulator as a storage for numbers, right? So let's say the accumulator starts at 0. So if we say move accumulator to P1, that's going to turn on, but it's going to leave P1 low, which it should be because P1 starts off low. And then P0 needs to be high. So we'll say move 100 into the accumulator and move the accumulator to P0. And then I guess let's say sleep 1 and then do the opposite, right? Move accumulator to P1, move 0 into the accumulator, and then move the accumulator to P0. And then jump to loop start, and then at the beginning we just have to put here a label called loop start. There we go. Is that going to work? No, it does not. It doesn't do anything. Why is it not? Why is that not working? What is going wrong here? So you can see click 0 is now on, and so you can see her finger here. It lights up that finger, so her finger is kind of hovering over the mouse button, and then when click 1 goes on, her finger goes down and clicks the mouse button. So she's frantically clicking the mouse button. It should just toggle, but it does not. Move accumulator to P1. So, right. So now you can see, now both of her fingers are on. So you can see the up finger is here, the down finger is here. So that's fine. That turns that on. Okay. Move accumulator to P0. Yeah, there we go. Now her finger's down and the hovering finger is off. That's correct. Oh, you know what? I don't think I need to have this jump at all. I think if I just leave this off and just say sleep 1 at the end, I think it automatically loops back to the beginning, doesn't it? Yes, it does. There we go. Okay, I didn't need to do the whole jump instruction at all. I didn't need to jump back to the beginning. It automatically jumps to the beginning if you have sleep 1 at the end. So if we simulate it, you can see now her finger is madly clicking. With every cycle, her finger goes up and down. So she is a crazy gamer. She is just rapidly clicking that mouse like it's how not PG should I make this video? I mean, yeah, let's not make any sexist or sexual remarks at this point. We're almost we've been doing so well at keeping it clean. Let's not ruin it now. So that's fine. So that was easy. That was pretty easy to do. It's just total oscillation. These others happen at regular intervals. So I'm going to go ahead and get a wait, what happened? Did I mistakenly? I think I mistakenly took a MC4000X when I wanted to take a. There we go. That's what I wanted. So we have here. Oh, crud. This chip has 4 X-bus pins, but we don't need X-bus. We need 3 simple pins, which means I might actually have to. Oh, that's annoying. I might be able to do this with an MC4000. Okay, let's go ahead and leave it at that for now. Let's go ahead and put this back in the bin for a bit, and we'll puzzle over how to do the second part of the animation next time. But for now, just thrill and watch astonished the blinking lights. Okay, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope that this was enjoyable. As usual, I'm open to feedback. Send your opinions and critiques and whatever else into the video comments. I will be happy to read them. And I will talk to you folks next time in the next video. Until then, ta-ta, everyone.